Hello and welcome to the Final Frontiersmen, a YouTube show about all things Trek. I'm Jeremy, and I'm so excited to finally get around to those promised videos about doing cosplay props, 3D prints, and the like. And I'm going to start with a small project. We're going to work up to a larger one. I'm going to do the Type 1 phaser from Star Trek The Next Generation. Heard it also called the Cricket phaser before. All the information and such that I'm going to be using, the file itself is going to be included in the links below, as well as the type of printer that I use. I'm going to kind of show you from start to finish how to do one of these props for yourself. If you have any other questions, you feel like I left some things out, please let me know because your feedback's important. So the first step, we're going to start with the print itself. We need to prep the print. So let's move on over to the software that I use, which is known as Cura. Okay, so I've got my Ultimaker Cura open. That is the program that you use to process the 3D image files for your particular prop. Okay, so once you have your files downloaded and you have Cura ready, we're going to go ahead and open the files, and I'm just immediately going to start dropping these files in. Right now, what I'm doing is loading up the files themselves. Let's see if this works out like I thought it would. There it is. There's all the parts and components that you need for it. There's going to be a button over here. It's called Slice. Slice, what that does is the 3D printing world. I make the hilarious comparison that it's like when you go to a deli and you ask for some lunch meat and they use a slicer. It literally slices this 3D image just like it would your lunch meat into several hundred, sometimes I could imagine up to several hundred or several thousand layers. So it 3D prints it. The settings that I'm going to be using, I'm going to be doing the dynamic quality settings because I like the quality that comes out from that. The printing temperature, I'm going to be printing this at about 210 degrees. My build plate is going to be about 55 degrees here. The tree supports, this guy right here doesn't really need that many supports, but I'm going to be using them anyway. And we're going to click the slice button right here. Alright, and I'm going to let the software do its thing. Alright, and as you can see down here at the bottom, this is a 5-hour and 9-minute print, start to finish. I'm going to click the preview button, and you're going to see right here, this the preview button gives me an opportunity to see where the layers are, and it's a really interesting little process because I can actually pull this down and watch and see how the print is going to go from the very, very first initial layer all the way to the top. These light blue structures here, those are going to be the supports, because a 3D printer can't really necessarily print something in the air. A good example is this little spot right here where the power buttons need a roof over them, but they can't do that without that support there. Just a little bit of 3D printer information there for you, and I can always get more in depth if you guys want that. But there you go. So what we're going to do, we're going to save this to a disk. We're going to take it to my printer. That process is going to be fairly boring to watch. So we're just going to go straight to the part where I've already got it printed and go from there, okay? All right, guys. So the print finished and it's looking really, really good outside of just a little bit of stringing on the outside right here. I really do like that dynamic quality setting. There is a little bit of like what they call layer shifting. Not really all that bad. Overall, I'm really, really happy with it. So what we're going to do, we're going to get it cleaned up and go from there. Okay guys, so I've got everything taped down and I've got my Krylon 2-in-1 primer. It's a filling sandable primer. I really do like this particular primer because it is sandable. This particular phaser I'm not going to be doing any sanding on, but it really does fill in some of those layer lines to make it look a little smoother when I'm really feeling lazy like I'm doing on this one. This is just a quick little prop here. Getting some priming done here. Everything's looking good so far, and let's move on to the next step, which is painting. Okay guys, it has now come time to do some painting. The primer is down, everything looks good, the parts are about as clean as they're going to get, and we're going to get started here, okay? Now, I am just learning how to airbrush, so any advice that I am going to give you here is 100% amateur, okay? I suggest if you really want to do a good job painting, look up some sort of a guide, but I'm just going to kind of give you the steps that I take. First off, I use an Iwata Eclipse airbrush. I've had a really good run with this airbrush. It's been really helpful to learn. It's a really forgiving airbrush. So I'm looking forward to using this guy for this particular project. Also, I really have good luck with the Vallejo. I just threw one on the floor. Vallejo Game Air paints. Really good. They don't really require a lot of priming or any whole lot of reducing, with the exception of the metallic colors. The metallic colors here, I do find myself having to use a little bit of airbrush flow improver and a little bit of reducer. Again, I'm going to recommend that you look out to some sort of a guide to find out what your best ratio for mixing that stuff is. Okay. All right, guys. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and get some paint mixed up, and we're gonna start laying some airbrushing down here. All right. First off, we're gonna do the top of this little part right here. This little door, I don't even know what that is. It's not a door. It's gonna go right here. I'm gonna do this in a gray color. The gray that I'm using, again, is the Vallejo gray. I didn't even thin this thing. The Air series, it seems to go through really well. Just right out. Just give it a good coating here. Now, again, I am an amateur airbrush guy. Don't take anything that I'm doing here seriously. A lot of people who know way more about airbrushing than I do. Okay, so that's going to be our first one. I'm going to clean the airbrush out. We're going to move on. Okay, the next part we're going to do is we're going to do the lights up here up top. I don't really do a red to green effect on these. It's possible, but my painting skills just aren't what they need to be. For this one, I'm going to use the Scorpion green, I guess that's where we're going with it. Again, Vallejo Air. I'm not really reducing this. Straight through the Iwata Eclipse. I'm going to use multiple layers on that one because it's such a bright green, and I really wanted to go with a bright look to it because I wanted to give like a neon look to it. There's probably 110 different ways to do this better than what I'm doing, but as of right now, this effect seems to do just fine for what I want it for. I'm going to do a really heavy coat on that. All right, we're done. Again, clean the airbrush out. Let's move on. Okay, guys, now for the tip. This is going to go underneath the tip casing, actually. I want this to be a red, so the color that I'm using is something I've already misplaced. Oh, no, here we go. Again, Model Air still. It's going to be just the straight red color. No reducing on that one. Just put the paint straight to the cup. And we're going to get started. Now this one, similar to the green, I'm going to be a little heavy with it because I really like for this to show as best I can. So make that nice and red. This could take some time, so I'm not going to waste y'all's time with this. I'm just going to keep working on this, and we'll move on to the next color. Okay, guys, now for the tip. Right here, it's going to go with the just a regular black Vallejo again. No type of thinning or anything like that with this guy. This is going to be the last one that I do with no thinning though, because I'm going to be moving on to metallic paints after this one, okay? But again, the black seems to go on really, really well. Very little issues working with this paint. I've really, really enjoyed working with this. Just trying to get it to where I'm not in the way of the camera. Okay, I want to continue on. And I want to finish this up and we'll move on to some metallic colors. Okay, now for the buttons, and this is going to be a little stripe here for the Cricut phaser. I'm going to do polished gold. Now, this is not listed as a metallic, but I do find that I do need to use my flow improver with a little bit of reducer. I'll do about 50-50 on the paint with the reducer here. Again, I really encourage you guys to consult a professional paint video. This is, again, just what works for me. I know I keep saying that because I am just learning, but again, this is just a guide, kind of let you know where I go, how I go from the printer to the finished product. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna get started on this gold. And I really like this polished gold for this particular set here. Yeah, I'm using a sheet of paper here just to kind of protect my finished parts. I'm not gonna bore you guys as usual while I do this painting. And we've got one more color change. All right, so this is gonna be the last painting bit that I do. So for this particular one, I'm going to use the Model Air Vallejo. I'm using steel. And as I did with the gold one, using about 50% ratio on the reducer for this. And I also did include a couple of drops of the airbrush flow improver. And you can see I've already spray painted a little test line just to make sure that it is spraying properly. And we're going to get started on these. Let's see if I can't make them a nice silver shine. These are the buttons down here, like the trigger. That guy wants to wobble a little bit. Alright, so for the sake of time, I'm going to just be doing some brushing. And we will come back with the assembly. Okay guys, the paint is dry. Everything's looking pretty good, I think, so far. We're going to do a quick assembly video right here. I'm just going to be using this basic super glue, just Gorilla Glue. Found that this worked really well to keep things held together. So we're going to get started here, okay? All right. And here you have it, guys, the completed projects right here. I'm happy with these despite the flaws that they have. Sanding this would have made it a lot better looking. And again, I've mentioned multiple times my painting skills just need work. I'm getting there though. I'm getting better. But I'm happy. I'm really, really happy with how these guys turned out. I can pick on things. Like I had a glue accident here and a little bit of a paint accident I'm trying to touch up here. Really, ultimately, I just kind of wanted to show that this is not really difficult to do if you just wanted something as a cosplay piece or just a piece to sit on a shelf. If you wanted to avoid painting these and you wanted to print these in the respective colors, then that's great too. That would actually probably make it a lot less messy than what this actually is. But yeah, so there you have it. That's the Type 1 Cricket Phaser from Star Trek The Next Generation. Hope you found that this helpful. Could have gave you a chance to be encouraged to make your own, get into prop making. I'm going to have a lot more videos coming up. That's going to be more Star Trek related products. So I can't wait to see what you guys come up with if you use this video for inspiration. If you got any questions for me, please let me know. And I look forward to hearing from you guys in the future.